Hey, what is up guys, I'm KBHD here, and today we're going to be talking about the potential successor to the already legendary HTC One. Now we don't actually know what the name of that phone is going to be. It could be the HTC 2 or the HTC One V2, we don't actually know, but we do know that it's at least internally codenamed the HTC M8. So that is what we're going to be calling it for this entire video. So the HTC One was one of my favorite phones of 2013, period, hands down. It had amazing specs, it had excellent speakers, and it had a build quality that set a new standard for what high-end smartphones should feel like of that unibody aluminum. So whatever the new name of this new HTC smartphone is, it's going to have some seriously big shoes to fill. So the rumored specs here are a little bit less than concrete. Obviously, nothing is confirmed, but I'll give you the spec rundown and you can let me know what you think. First of all, we are expected to keep that legendary unibody aluminum design and the front-facing speakers. Without that, I don't even know if we could call it the successor to the HTC One. So yes, this M8 is expected to have the same beastly build quality. Now, similar to this build quality, we're also expected to keep these premium specs, so it's also expected to launch with the newest version of the Snapdragon 800, not the 805, and 2 gigabytes of RAM, and the newest version of Android 4.4.2 with Sense 6 on top of it. Which brings us to the next point. The physical design of the phone is expected to switch from HTC's off-screen buttons to HTC's on-screen buttons. So we've seen leaked screenshots now of HTC Sense 6 on the M8, and it does have software on-screen buttons, which would lead to a slight change in design. So the HTC One had a 4.7-inch 1080p display, and if you look at the phone from take a step back, it actually had really big bezels because of the huge speakers on the top and the bottom. So having these on-screen buttons now would require a little bit more space, so we're expected to see a slightly larger display coming in at 5.0 inches. 5-inch 1080p display is still way over 400 ppi, so it's going to look extremely sharp. And of course, it'll have the on-screen buttons now, so slightly less bezels. So love it or hate it, that's probably going to be a thing. Those buttons are going to be moving to on-screen, probably 90% chance of that happening. And then there is the camera, probably the biggest question mark ever. So we've seen these leaked shots of a new HTC flagship that looks like the HTC M8 that has two cameras, two physical camera aperture openings, two different sensors on the top and middle of the phone. These are expected to actually be used by HTC, not for 3D, nothing crazy like that, but to actually be used for some HTC software for refocusing a shot after it's taken and some other pixel depth things. And I'll leave a link below to a Toshiba phone that actually already does this. So it has two 5-megapixel sensors and uses Toshiba software to refocus a shot afterwards. I'll leave a link below the like button to check that out. And I guess we're expecting now the new HTC M8 to have this same feature. That seems pretty cool. And they're also apparently sticking with the ultra pixels. I did a video all on the ultra pixel explained. As you probably already know, the HTC One had a 4 ultra pixel or 4 megapixel camera. This is supposed to be improved, and I'm actually happy that they're improving this because it had massive potential. Obviously, the low light shots could be better with something like optical image stabilization. So if they stick with this ultra pixel thing and improve the technology and make it better, who knows? Maybe it will be way better than the typical CMOS sensor with 15 or 18 megapixels. So props to HTC for sticking with that, and I'm excited to see how that performs. So that's basically it. That is essentially what we know about the new HTC One. It's not everything, it doesn't give you a full picture, but it should give you a pretty good idea of what the phone's going to look like and feel like in the hand, especially if you've held an HTC One before. I'm also expecting, personally, performance to be excellent, even though it's not the newest 805 chip from Qualcomm. The Snapdragon 800 does really, really well with Android 4.4 KitKat because of its lower system requirements and it taking better advantage of lower specs. So I'm expecting performance to be great. It's all going to depend on HTC Sense 6.0 here and what sort of software HTC decides to throw into that. And we're also expecting this phone to drop sometime in late March. I think the window that we originally thought was Q1, which is a pretty big window. Now we're in February and it's sort of narrowing down to late March here. And I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter if I find an event date or something official like that. Now I'm sure there will be way more leaks between now and then. I mean, it's 2014. everything leaks, and I'm sure there will be way more before the phone actually comes out. But if you're not interested in the HTC One or the M8 at all, I actually also uploaded a video today on the Samsung Galaxy S5 and what to expect with that phone. So if you're more into the Galaxy S line, you can check that out. Yes, I did upload 2 videos in one day today. So check those both out. I'll have that link also below the like button. So there's just a whole bunch of links below in the description to check out. Again, that has been it. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.